A Palestinian family gathered amidst the rubble of their house in Rafah, Gaza Strip, on Monday to break their fast. Like hundreds of thousands of displaced Palestinians, they are struggling to obtain food. The aid entering the territory is insufficient to feed the more than 2 million inhabitants of Gaza. According to the United Nations, half of the population is facing catastrophic hunger.
We welcomed the last Ramadan with decorations and beautiful things, with carob juice and a plate of eggs. This Ramadan is deprived of all of these things that I mentioned. I was not able to provide my children with any of life's basics, to the point that my daughter asked me and said that she wants to eat boiled eggs. And I tell her, how can I bring you boiled eggs? The situation does not allow us to. Our situation was below zero before the war. So what do you expect after the war? Worse and worse. And we thank Allah in every case.
The United Nations chief stated that 1.1 million people in the Gaza Strip are facing hunger, reiterating the urgent need for a humanitarian ceasefire.
In northern Gaza, famine is imminent, starting from now till May of this year. So it's a very short window to act. There are about 1.1 million people in catastrophic level of hunger. There are about 854,000 people who are in emergency level of hunger. And then there are about 276,000 people who are in crisis level. So the situation is terrible all along.
Though not directly blaming Israel, the Secretary-General's comments to reporters on Monday clearly addressed its ongoing military offensive in Gaza, following Hamas's surprise attack on October 7th, which resulted in approximately 1,200 casualties and about 250 people taken hostage.
Even though Ramadan has begun, the killing, bombing, and bloodshed continue in Gaza. We recently entered the 6 months since the Hamas terror attacks in Israel and the catastrophic Israel onslaught in Gaza began. My strongest appeal today is to honor the spirit of Ramadan by silencing the guns and removing all obstacles to ensure the delivery of life-saving aid at the speed and massive scale required.
The latest report from the IPC confirms that famine is imminent in the northern governorates of the Gaza Strip, projected to occur any time between mid-March and May 2024. This has led to chaotic scenes at food distribution centers in Gaza. At Jabalia refugee camp, Palestinians gathered at a UNRWA school on Tuesday, waiting for hours to receive a hot meal from a soup kitchen. In the absence of organizers, some were forced to push their way to the small window to receive food. People have no money, no work, no food. People come here and wait to take food from the hospice. The situation is very difficult and dangerous. Not everyone was able to obtain a meal, as many returned to their shelters in Jabalia empty-handed. We stand waiting for our turn for 5, 6, 7 hours, and we do not catch the turn. The situation is difficult and tragic. There is no food, there is no money, the situation is deteriorating. A patrol must be established to support us and distribute to us rice, flour, sugar, canned goods, and everything. We are lost. The UN Human Rights Chief warned that Israel's restrictions on aid entering Gaza and its conduct of war against Hamas could constitute the use of starvation as a method of war, which is a war crime. He also warned of the looming famine in Gaza, stating that the clock is ticking.
The extent of Israel's continued restrictions on the entry of aid into Gaza, together with the manner in which it continues to conduct hostilities, may amount to the use of starvation as a method of war, which is a war crime. The clock is ticking. Everyone, especially those with influence, must insist that Israel acts to facilitate the unimpeded entry and distribution of needed humanitarian assistance to end starvation and avert all risk of famine.
Meanwhile, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu agreed to send a team of Israeli officials to Washington amidst growing tensions over the food crisis in Gaza and Israel's conduct during the war.
We continue to be deeply concerned about the report that's indicating that famine is imminent in Gaza. This report makes clear that the amount of aid reaching the people in Gaza is insufficient, and that more needs to be done. We need to redouble our efforts to ensure that aid can get to the places that it needs to go.
An aid ship carrying approximately 200 tons of food collected by Andre's World Central Kitchen, set sail for Gaza on Tuesday as part of a pilot program for opening a sea corridor to the territory. This push to deliver food by sea, along with recent airdrops in isolated northern Gaza, underscores the international community's frustration with the worsening humanitarian crisis and the challenges of delivering aid by road.